Hey everyone, a big shout out to all of Mr. Cheese students and followers out there. All right, today we're going to crack the code on a classic genetics question that seems totally impossible at first glance. Question 3.5. This thing is a fantastic puzzle, and trust me, by the end of this, you're going to know the secret to solving it every single time. Okay, so here's the big paradox that trips so many people up, right? You've got a parent with blood type A, another with blood type B, and somehow they have a child with blood type O. How is that even possible? I mean, that just sounds genetically impossible, doesn't it? Well, spoiler alert, it's totally possible, and we're about to break down exactly how it works. Okay, let's just dive right in. We're going to look at the exact question word for word as it appeared on the exam paper. And there it is. The question asks for a genetic cross to show the possibility of them having all the blood groups in the F1 generation. And you gotta notice this, guys. It's worth 6 marks. That's a huge clue that we need to be super clear, show all our steps, and hit every single key point to get that full credit. So before we can even think about solving this cross, we've got to do a quick but super important recap of the genetics behind the whole ABO blood group system. Seriously, getting this foundation right is everything. All right, let's break this table down because it's got the goods. So, the phenotype, that's just the physical trait you actually see. You know, your blood group, A, B, AB, or O. The genotype, on the other hand, is the actual genetic code, the letters behind the scenes. And here's where it gets interesting. Look at blood types A and B. You see how there are 2 possible genotypes for each? You can be what we call homozygous dominant, or you can be heterozygous, carrying 1 dominant allele and the sneaky little recessive I allele. And this little I allele, think of it like a secret agent in our story. It's totally hidden and it only reveals itself if you get 2 copies of it. You know, the entire solution to this 6-mark puzzle, it all comes down to one tiny but super powerful phrase that's hidden right in the question itself. I wonder if you spotted it. There it is, that phrase. The possibility of them having all the blood groups, that is the key that unlocks everything. So why is that so important? Well, think about it. For these parents to have a kid with blood type O, that child's genotype has to be II, right? And where do those 2 little I's come from? Well, one has to come from the dad and one has to come from the mom. There's no other way. And boom, that is our aha moment. If each parent has to pass on that little recessive I allele, then we know their exact genotypes. The dad, who has blood type A, can't be homozygous IAII. Nope, he has to be heterozygous IAI. And it's the exact same story for the mom with blood type B. She's got to be IBI. They are both carriers of that little secret agent I allele we talked about. Okay, so now that we've cracked the code and we know the parents' genotypes for sure, we've got everything we need to build this genetic cross and prove it once and for all. So let's set this up. Here are our parents, what we call the P1 or parental generation. We have the man, his phenotype is blood group A, and his genotype, as we figured out, is IAI. And we have the woman, her phenotype is blood group B, which means her genotype is IBI. This is the perfect, correct starting point. All right, time to build the Punnett square. And don't let the name scare you, it's just a simple grade that helps us map out all the possible outcomes. It's a simple 3-step process. First, figure out the possible gametes from each parent. Second, draw the square and pop those gametes on the top and the side. And third, we combine them to see all the possible genotypes for the kids. So let's get to it. Okay, let's fill this thing in together. So the dad's gametes can be either IA or little I. The mom's gametes can be either IB or little I. Now we just combine them. In the first box, IA meets IB, that gives us blood type AB. Next box, IA meets little I, that's blood type A. Down below, IB meets little I, that's blood type B. And in the last box, our 2 secret agents finally meet, little I and little I, giving us blood type O. Would you look at that? It's all there. And there you have it, the results for the F1 or first filial generation. You can see the 4 possible genotypes right there, and they match up perfectly with the 4 phenotypes. Blood group AB, blood group A, blood group B, and yes, blood group O. So we've just proven, without a doubt, that it is absolutely possible for these 2 parents to have a child with any of the 4 blood groups. Puzzle solved. Okay, so you solved the puzzle. That's fantastic. But hold on.
This is an exam, right? Getting the right answer is only half the battle. The real question is, how do you make sure you walk away with every single one of those 6 marks? It all comes down to your presentation and format.
I mean, 6 marks are just sitting there on the table. That's a huge opportunity you don't want to miss. So let's actually look at the official marking guideline to see exactly where each mark comes from. This, my friends, is how you turn a good answer into a perfect one.
All right, here is the examiner's checklist. Pay close attention. You get a check for your P1 phenotype and genotype, a check for the correct gametes, a check for the F1 genotypes, and a check for the F1 phenotypes. We've covered all that. But look at this one right here. Mention of meiosis and fertilization. This is where so many students drop easy marks. It's simple. When you show the parents' alleles separating into gametes, you have to label that process meiosis. And then the Punnett square itself, where those gametes are combining, you label that fertilization. You add in your P1 and F1 labels, follow this exact format, and I promise you, you have just locked in all 6 marks. It's that easy.
And that's it. That is the complete breakdown of question 3.5. Hopefully, that whole thing makes a lot more sense now. You know, if you found this helpful, this is really just a little taste of the kind of stuff Mr. Chi puts out. So if you want to keep getting these kinds of awesome exam tips and breakdowns, do yourself a solid. Like this, share it with your friends who might be struggling, and most importantly, go follow Mr. Chi on all his socials. We're talking Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, the whole shebang. It's the best way to stay ahead of the game. And hey, before we go, I'm going to leave you with a little something to chew on. We proved that all 4 blood types are possible, right? But are they all equally likely? Take another look at that Punnett square we made. What are the actual odds, the probability, of these parents having a child with blood type A, or B, or AB, or O? Think about that for a second. Thanks so much for watching.